Hi, I'm Stephanie Sipp, and I'm an illustrator, educator, and naturalist. And in this video, I want to show you about adding Premier Prismacolor pencils to a violet, actually a sweet white violet, uh, line drawing. There is a video that shows the line drawing that's in my YouTube station. And I want to start by taking a really good look at the violet. A couple of things that are important that I want to mention is color-wise is that we've got some white with a little violet flavor. The veins in here are darker violet. As we move in, there to me is a little bit of a yellow along with a green, yellow-green flavor. And all of that is going to be important to us. The other thing that I wanted to just show you, I like to, when we talk about color, to look at the color wheel. We've got our yellow, green, and our green we're going to use. They're close in family. They work well together. We're going to be working with violet. I am going to add a little purple violet. You could also just add just a little bit of that red. Again, they're close together in the color wheel, so they work nicely together. All right, these are the pencils that I've chosen to use. And if you want to take a quick snapshot of this, that will help you out if you have a large variety. If you don't, you can see I've worked with the yellow, green, a darker green. Here's this red purple that I'm popping in there in a couple of places. This is white, there's the light violet, and then here's this red violet. And a little bit of that yellow I want to pop in there too. So you can see I've gotten started here, and I can show you that with the center, I did add a little marker dots in there. I don't know if you remember, but there is just a bit of texture in there that I wanted to show. And then, so it was the yellow-green right in here. Some of you may even have a little scoop there where you drew it, and then a little bit of yellow in here. The other thing that I'll do, I'm going to start with the petals on the flower. I want you to notice that that I've got lighter here and the darker going here. That's usually typical of how flowers are rendered. I'm going to work on this bottom one here. I'm going to start, one of the things that I want to do is that my strokes are going to go from the back to the front, which is typical of keeping the strokes in the shape that they go in. Take a closer look here. Yeah, here's some of this darker on top. Okay. The other thing that I've done that I really like is added a little bit of this dark flavor in there. This is this black grape. Excellent. Okay. Got my bottom started. Now I'm going to start at the top and go back, and underneath is going to be this soft violet, just a little bit, and then I'm going to take my white, and I actually use the white in a situation like this as a blender. You might have a blender. You might want to try that. I encourage exploring different ways of using these tools. I think each of us comes up with our own method, which is important, what you're comfortable with, and what you would like your results to look like. Notice the sun. This is for the middle area. I came back with the lilac. I'm going to bring back my white. So here's this blending flavor. I'm going to pause with that because I want to go ahead. I recommend adding color to each of the leaves. and then coming back for the final touches, because I like to see how it looks mostly finished, and then I can come back and see if I need some lighter, sort of darker values, or I want to try to pop a color in there that I hadn't thought about, a hue. So part of this process is taking our time, pausing, and looking at things carefully, and being willing to adjust as we go. It's a really interesting part about creating images. I think that got a little too dark, more than I wanted. I'm going to be careful this time to leave much more opportunities for white here. That looks better to me. You know, each petal is going to look a little bit different, so I don't get too excited about if things don't go exactly the way I think they need to. Here's some more of this, plenty of the way. Great. So I will leave this and then go in and add the leaves. That's the background there. We'll see how that changes and what kind of adjustments I need to make. So with the leaves, I'm going to work with the yellow, green, green, a couple of greens. You may not have this many, but again, we're sort of a light, medium, and dark. Those are our values. And then, as you can see, I'm going to pop in a little bit of that black grape, which to me has some red in it. Where I'm going to start is in the center. Often the leaf has a vein. I want to take a look at it. I have one here. Let's see if I can get this for you. It's actually sitting in some water. So here's our leaf. And it's really nice to be able to have the leaf with me. What I'm seeing that's pretty prominent is this center vein here. There's a little bit of this lighter green going to the darker on the outside. That's how I'm going to use my colored pencils. And so here's that. You can also put in this lighter flavor. Notice the strokes I'm using. I'm going in the direction that the veins would be. That's very important to me. There's my light. Here comes my medium. Because when we are able to follow the shape of the object we're drawing with our strokes, it really does a good job reinforcing how the actual, in this case, leaf will look. I also will come from the outside in, typical of the way I manage my colored pencils. I'm liking that this has a linear flavor. Now, notice on this leaf that I did, this dark color, I'm going to have close to where there might even be a shadow. And so I'm going to be, that'll be the last thing that I'll add to this, will be that darker flavor. Good. Okay, so here comes, this is kind of just a light, this dark purple. I can even put a little green on top if I feel like it's also gives a contrast. We want color and value contrast of my very light and the dark. So that becomes part of how in the rendering I can help it look more realistic. I'm going to work some dark back into here. Good. Let me also do this leaf in here, since that's a little bit different. That is going to have a lot of shadowing underneath here and not that much of the lighter flavor. I will still keep some of this light up here at the tip. I'm going to move very quickly to my medium. And then I'm going to get my dark green out right away. This is going to be in shadow underneath. And here's my dark gray. Add some of that back in. So as you have layers, certainly with a plant, think about how there be some darkness and some shadow and how you can get that effectively. Notice I'm slowly darkening, stepping back and looking. Good. Okay. Well, that should get you going on the leaf and the flower itself. I do want to show you about adding this name, which is Sweet White Violet. When I add lettering, I add guidelines. These are 1/4 of an inch. I'm going to find the center again because I want to see if I can get this. I even have an example here which will help me out. But you can see that I'm careful about, it looks like, this did not land in the center. That's why those little dots are there. But I'm going to try to see if I can get this in the center here, which means, and I'm going to practice my letters. And it's very important for me to have this written out ahead of time. Because once I get busy with my making each shape of the letter, I'm very careful about that. I'm not thinking about the spelling. And that's where I can get myself into trouble. So I set myself up for success here, which is great. And that's not really in the middle, is it? Still not in the middle. Okay, so 3 plus, 3 plus. All right, so I'm actually I'm gonna erase this. Find my eraser here, and I'm gonna move it. I think I can do this without pencil underneath. I'm gonna move it. As you can see, I don't have any trouble adjusting what I'm doing. So I'm actually going to start my S right there because I think I'm going to end up right there. So very careful to make each stroke. Hopefully I'm going to spell it right.